Hi, in this video I will show you how to put an equalizer or an EQ on a snare drum track using an insert effect. We're going to use the project that I've made called Snare Plaything. That's just a snare drum hit that we can use for demo purposes. So we want to put the EQ on as an insert, so we go over here to the mix window and click on one of these lighter gray boxes at the top of the snare channel strip, right here in one of these, one of the five blank insert positions. So you can start at the very top, go to Plugin, EQ, and we're just going to use the basic 7-band Pro Tools EQ for now. So click in one of the gray boxes, slide down to Plugin, slide over to EQ, slide down to the EQ3 and click it. And then it'll open a window that shows you the EQ. Now what's happening here is the signal is coming from the track down through the channel strip and into the master fader. Now this extra track here is just for the microphone so you can hear me talking. But the insert effect is used to process 100% of a signal as it passes through the channel strip. So inserts are inserted into the signal path or into the line. A lot like a guitar effects pedal. We want to do that because we want the effect, in this case the equalizing, to affect or change the whole signal of the drum sound. So let me just get it playing here a second so you hear what it sounds like. Just a basic unprocessed snare drum sound. And if we go in here, we have two ways of setting EQ. We can grab these handles and drag them, or we can go over to the knobs and the numbers. And the colors correspond to the range of the frequency. What we're looking at on the graph here is low frequency to high frequency on the right, and it covers in a logarithmic scale approximately a little bit wider than what humans hear. So human hearing range is somewhere in the region of about 40, 35 up to anywhere around 15 or 18,000 cycles per second, somewhere in this middle range, just slightly in from the edge. We can use the knobs to adjust the gain or the reduction of those frequencies, or we can click and drag the handles. With a snare drum, we might want to emphasize a little bit of low-mid frequency. We might want to emphasize some high shelf, high frequencies, and maybe a little bit of high mids. So there's the, let me set these back to close to the default setting and just pull up the low mid. You can hear how it gets a little boomy, but it also gets to have a little bit of the chest thumping kind of power that sometimes we want in a rock snare drum. The high end, just to turn it way up just so you can hear it, is the brightness, the crystal kind of shimmer of sounds. And it does tend to make the snare just kind of seem a little more crisp. And then the high mids can give it a little bit more buzz or sharpness. You can move these left and right as well as up and down. You may want to cut a little bit of mid-range, and that would mean pulling it below the zero. The other adjustment you can make, which you can only make with the knobs, is how wide these curves are. So the width of these curves is called the Q, or the bandwidth, and you'll see a setting for that. So let's look at the low mid frequency LMF Q, and if I turn the knob, you'll see that the shape of the curve changes. So the wider the curve, the more natural the sound. And the narrower the curve, or the narrower the Q or bandwidth, the more sharp the effect will be. So you can manipulate, or you can sort of balance the gain or the reduction. You can balance the frequency point by moving left and right. And then you can kind of refine the timbral effect of that range by manipulating the bandwidth or the Q. If you want to hear what it sounds like without your effect in place, just click on the bypass, and that returns it back to its natural unaffected state. So you can hear whether you're actually improving it or not. The other thing to notice with a EQ is that as you push these frequencies above the zero, you're actually amplifying the signal. And you'll notice that even though the input is not clipping, it's not making the red light come on, now that I've amplified the signal in a couple of different frequency ranges, now the output is actually clipping because I've amplified the signal, even though I haven't amplified the whole signal, the whole frequency range of the signal. I've amplified enough of the signal to cause it to start to clip. So once that starts to happen, you need to bring down the output level a little bit. So that the signal that's coming in and the signal that's going out is approximately the same. Okay, that's how to put an insert effect onto a track. You just click in one of the top gray boxes, choose plugin, and then a little bit about setting EQ. So that's it. See you later. Bye.